Rosie's dress tore in front of everyone. The whole fairground went quiet for one small second. Then the laughter came like thunder. Rosie stood near the pie table with her hands shaking. A blue ribbon was still pinned to the dress she had made with her own hands. It was a soft yellow dress with tiny white flowers around the neck. She had worked on it for 3 nights without sleep. But now, the back of it had ripped open because one cruel girl had stepped on the hem on purpose. "Look at her," one woman shouted. "Even her own dress is begging to run away." More laughter followed. Rosie's face burned hot. Her eyes filled with tears, but she tried not to cry. She held the torn cloth behind her back and looked down at the dust under her shoes. All around her, people watched. Some smiled. Some whispered. Some looked away, like her pain was not their business. Rosie wanted the ground to open and hide her. She had only come to the county fair because, for once in her life, she wanted to feel normal. She wanted to hear music. She wanted to smell sweet pies. She wanted to watch the dancers under the lanterns and pretend that one day someone might ask her to dance too. But the town never let her forget who they thought she was. Too big, too plain, too quiet, too easy to laugh at. "Go back to your sewing room, Rosie," another woman said. Her name was Clarabelle. She was thin, rich, and mean. The fair is for women men actually want to look at. Rosie's lips trembled. She had sewn Clarabelle's green dress for the fair. She had fixed the sleeves twice. She had made it beautiful. And now Clarabelle stood there wearing Rosie's work while laughing at Rosie's shame. That hurt more than the torn dress. Rosie turned to leave. She did not run. She wanted to, but she did not. She walked slowly, with her head down, because even in pain she still had pride. Then a deep voice cut through the laughter. Who told her to leave? Everyone froze. Rosie stopped walking. The music from the fiddles slowed down until it died. A tall cowboy stepped into the open space near the dance floor. His hat sat low over his eyes. His boots were dusty. His brown coat moved in the evening wind. It was Luke Dawson, the most wanted cowboy in Cedar County. Not wanted by the law, wanted by every girl with a beating heart. Luke owned the largest ranch near Red Creek. He rode like thunder, he fought like a storm, and when he spoke, even proud men listened. Clarabelle smiled quickly and pushed her curls behind her ear. "Luke," she said sweetly, "we were only having a little fun." Luke did not smile. His eyes moved from Clarabelle to Rosie. Rosie could not look at him. She felt too ashamed. She held the torn back of her dress tighter and wished he had not seen any of it. But Luke saw everything. He saw the tears Rosie was fighting. He saw the way her hands shook. He saw the cruel smiles around her. And he saw the yellow dress, torn but still beautiful, because it had been made with care. Luke walked toward Rosie. The crowd moved back to make room for him. Rosie's heart beat so hard it scared her. He stopped in front of her and removed his hat. "Miss Rosie," he said gently, "would you dance with me?" A gasp ran through the fairground. Rosie looked up at him. She thought she had heard wrong. "What?" she whispered. Luke held out his hand. "I asked if you would dance with me." Rosie looked around. Every eye was on her now. Clarabelle's face had turned red. Other women looked shocked, like Luke had just thrown gold into a river. Rosie shook her head a little. "Please don't make fun of me too," she said softly. Luke's face changed. For a moment he looked hurt. "I would never do that," he said. Rosie wanted to believe him, but life had taught her that kind words could hide sharp teeth. People had smiled before hurting her. People had thanked her while looking down on her. People had used her hands and crushed her heart. So she stepped back. "I cannot dance," she said. "Everyone will laugh." Luke turned and looked at the crowd. "They already did," he said, "and they should be ashamed." No one spoke. Luke looked back at Rosie. "I am not asking them," he said. "I am asking you." Rosie's tears finally slipped down her cheeks. No man had ever chosen her in public. No man had ever stood beside her when people laughed. No man had ever looked at her like she was not a joke. Slowly, with shaking fingers, Rosie placed her hand in his. Luke held it like it was something precious. The fiddler did not move. Luke looked at him. "Play," he said. The fiddler swallowed and lifted his bow. Soft music filled the air. Luke led Rosie to the middle of the fairground. Her dress was still torn, her cheeks were still wet, her heart was still scared. But Luke did not look embarrassed. He placed one hand at a respectful distance near her back and guided her gently. He moved slow so she would not stumble. Rosie followed him, small step after small step. At first, people only stared. Then the whispers began. Why her? Has he lost his mind? Clarabelle will not like this. Rosie heard every word. Her smile faded. Luke noticed. "Do not listen," he said. "I am trying," Rosie whispered. "You made that dress yourself?" She nodded. "It is the prettiest dress at this fair," he said. Rosie almost cried again. Across the dance floor, Clarabelle watched with angry eyes. Her hands curled into fists. Beside her stood another woman named Pearl, who had also mocked Rosie many times. Pearl leaned close and whispered, "You cannot let this happen. If Luke chooses her, every woman here will look foolish." Clarabelle's jaw tightened. "He is only being kind," she said. But her voice shook, because deep down she knew something had changed. Luke was not looking at Rosie with pity. He was looking at her like he had finally found peace. When the music ended, nobody clapped. Nobody moved. Rosie tried to pull her hand away, but Luke held it a moment longer. "Thank you for dancing with me," he said. Rosie looked at him with confusion and fear. "Why did you do that?" she asked. Before Luke could answer, a sharp voice came from behind them. "Because Luke Dawson has always liked broken things." The crowd turned. A woman in a dark red riding dress stepped into the lantern light. Her hair was shiny, her gloves were white, her smile was cold. Luke's whole body went still. Rosie felt his hand tighten. The woman looked Rosie up and down and smiled like she had already won. "Hello, Luke," she said. "Did you miss me?" Rosie looked at Luke. For the first time that night, the strong cowboy looked afraid. And Rosie knew this woman was not just another jealous girl. She was someone from his past, someone who had once broken him. Rosie felt Luke's hand turn cold. The woman in the red riding dress stood under the fair lanterns like she owned the whole town. Her smile was pretty, but it had no warmth inside it. Everyone stared at her. Some people whispered her name, Victoria Hale. Rosie had heard that name before. Victoria was the rich woman who had once promised to marry Luke Dawson. People said she was the prettiest woman Cedar County had ever seen. People also said she left Luke when she thought a richer man wanted her. But now she was back, and she was looking at Rosie like Rosie was dirt on her boot. Luke took one slow breath. "Victoria," he said. His voice was low. "You should not be here." Victoria laughed softly. "Oh, Luke," she said. "Is that how you greet an old love?" The word love hit Rosie in the chest. She pulled her hand away from Luke. Luke noticed at once. "Rosie," he said softly, but Rosie stepped back. She felt foolish again, more foolish than before. Maybe the whole dance had been nothing. Maybe Luke had only wanted to prove a point. Maybe he had only used her to hurt this beautiful woman from his past. The old shame came back fast. Too big, too plain, too easy to use. Clarabelle smiled from the crowd. Pearl covered her mouth, trying not to laugh. Victoria walked closer. "So this is what you do now?" she asked Luke. "You dance with lonely seamstresses to make me jealous?" Rosie's eyes filled again, but this time anger mixed with the tears. Luke's face hardened. "Do not speak about her like that." Victoria looked surprised. Then she smiled wider. "Oh, so it is true. You are protecting her." Luke stepped in front of Rosie, but Rosie moved aside. She did not want to hide behind him. For once, she wanted to stand. Victoria looked at Rosie's torn yellow dress and shook her head. "My dear," she said, "Luke Dawson is not for women like you." The words were soft, but they cut deep. The crowd waited. Rosie wanted to run home. She wanted to lock her little sewing shop and cry until morning. But then she looked at Clara Bell's green dress. She looked at Pearl's blue dress. She looked at the other women standing around. Most of them were wearing dresses she had sewn. Her hands had made them beautiful. Her work had helped them shine, and still they laughed at her. Something broke inside Rosie that night, but it was not her heart. It was her fear. She wiped her tears with the back of her hand. "Women like me?" Rosie asked. Victoria lifted her chin. "Yes," she said, "women who should know their place." The fairground went quiet again. Rosie nodded slowly. "My place," she said, "has always been behind a sewing table, fixing torn sleeves, making waistlines smaller, hiding stains, saving dresses one night before a dance." Her voice shook, but she kept going. "My place has been making other women feel beautiful while they made me feel ugly." Some faces in the crowd changed. A few women looked down. Rosie pointed at Clara Bell. "I sewed your dress after your mother said no one else could fix it." Clara Bell's smile disappeared. Rosie looked at Pearl. "I repaired yours for free when your father lost money last winter." Pearl looked away. Then Rosie looked back at Victoria. "So maybe you are right. Maybe I do know my place. My place is where kindness is needed. My place is where work matters. My place is where a heart is not measured by a waist." Nobody laughed now. Luke stared at Rosie like he was seeing a sunrise after a long, dark night. Victoria's face tightened. "You sound proud for a woman standing in a torn dress," she said. Rosie looked down at the rip behind her. Then she gave a small, sad smile. "Yes," she said, "it is torn, but at least I made it with honest hands." The words struck Victoria hard, because everyone knew what she had done to Luke. She had promised love. Then she had chased money. Luke stepped beside Rosie. "That is enough," he said. Victoria turned to him. "Luke, please," she said, changing her voice. Now she sounded sweet. "I made a mistake. I came back for you. My father's money is gone. The man I followed left me with nothing. But you still have land. You still have your ranch. We can begin again." Rosie's stomach sank. There it was, the truth. Victoria had not come back for love. She had come back because she had nowhere else to go. Luke looked at her for a long moment. His eyes were full of old pain. "You did not come back for me," he said. "You came back for what I own." Victoria's smile fell. "That is not fair," she said. "No," Luke replied. "What was not fair was leaving me 2 days before our wedding. What was not fair was telling the town I was too poor for you. What was not fair was breaking a man's trust, then returning when his land became worth something." The crowd murmured. Victoria's face went pale. Rosie looked at Luke with new understanding. This was why he did not trust pretty smiles. This was why his eyes looked lonely, even when everyone admired him. He had been wounded too, just in a different way. Victoria's voice turned sharp again. "And you think she loves you?" she snapped, pointing at Rosie. "She barely knows you." Luke looked at Rosie. "No," he said, "she may not love me yet." Rosie's heart jumped. Luke continued, "And I do not expect her to. Trust takes time. Love takes care. But I know what I saw tonight. I saw a woman stand in shame and still keep her dignity. I saw a woman cry and still speak truth. I saw a woman who has been kinder to this town than this town has ever been to her." Rosie's lips parted. Luke turned to the crowd. "And I am ashamed of all of you." The words fell heavy. A small boy near the pie table looked at his mother. An old man removed his hat. The fiddler stared at his boots. Luke faced Rosie again. "I asked you to dance because I wanted to. Not to hurt her, not to make the town talk. Not because I pitied you. Rosie could barely breathe. Then why? She whispered. Luke's voice softened. Because when I walked into this fair, every person was shining on the outside. But you were the only one I saw shining on the inside. Rosie covered her mouth. The tears came again. But this time, they were different. They were not tears of shame. They were tears from a place in her heart that had waited too long to be seen. Victoria made one last move. She stepped closer to Luke and touched his arm. Luke, she whispered, do not throw away your future for her. Luke gently removed her hand. My future is not with a woman who only wants me when she is empty, he said. Then he turned to Rosie and held out his hand again. Rosie, he said, may I walk you home? The whole town waited for her answer. Rosie looked at him. Then she looked at the people who had laughed at her for years. For the first time, their eyes did not feel so powerful. For the first time, she did not feel small. She placed her hand in Luke's. Yes, she said, you may. They walked away from the lanterns together. Behind them, Victoria stood frozen with rage. Clarabelle looked sick with jealousy. Pearl wiped her eyes, maybe from shame, maybe from fear. As Luke and Rosie reached the edge of the fairground, he stopped near the old wooden gate. I know one dance does not heal a lifetime, he said. Rosie looked up at him. No, she said softly, but it can begin something. Luke smiled. Not a proud smile, not a cowboy smile, a gentle one. Then let me begin right, he said. He took off his coat and placed it around her shoulders, covering the torn part of her dress. Rosie looked down at the coat. It was warm. It smelled like dust, leather, and open fields. For years, she had made clothes to cover other people. That night, someone covered her. And for the first time in a long time, Rosie did not feel like the woman outside the dance. She felt chosen. But behind them, hidden near the pie table, Victoria watched with wet, angry eyes. Then she leaned toward Clarabelle and whispered, If Luke wants the seamstress, then we will make sure the seamstress loses everything. Clarabelle looked at her. What do you mean? Victoria smiled through her tears. By morning, she said, Rosie's little sewing shop will be gone. And far away from the music, under the dark, wild west sky, Rosie walked beside Luke without knowing that the cruelest night of her life was only beginning.